Hello class, welcome to our review here for the first half of Chapter 5. We'll go through each of these questions. I'm confident that if you know how to do all these questions here on the review, that you could do a good job and know all the answers when you do it yourself on the chapter test. So make sure you listen well, understand, ask me questions if you have some when you see me again. So here comes question number 1. X to the third times x to the negative second times x to the first. With common bases, when you multiply these, you add exponents. So 3 plus 2, 3 plus the negative 2 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So you get x raised to the second power. You would add those exponents and you get x squared. Question number 2, when you divide, you subtract. So 4 minus 7 is a negative 3. So you would get y raised to the negative third. However, you cannot have negative exponents. So this is where you move it to the denominator, so it's 1 over y to the positive third. You cannot have negative exponents. Another way of thinking about this one is that if you have 4y's in the numerator and you have 7y's in the denominator, you get canceling for the first 4, and so all you have left is y cubed in the denominator. So 1 over y cubed is the answer for question number 2. Question number 3, same kind of a thing. When you divide with common bases, you subtract exponents. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So the exponent is 2. A squared is the correct answer for question number 3. Question number 4, when you have a power raised to a power, you're going to multiply these two. So this is p raised to the 40th. When you have a power raised to a power, you multiply the exponents. Question number 5, we have 4x cubed, so it's kind of like 4x times 4x times 4x. It's 4x times itself 3 times. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and x times x times x is x to the third. 64 x to the third. Another way of looking at this is you'd have to cube 4, and 4 cubed is 64, and you have to cube x. Well, x raised to the first, raised to the third, a power raised to a power, you'd multiply those, and that's why 1 times 3, you get x to the third. So 64 x to the third is the correct answer for question number 5. Question number 6, you're going to square the numerator, and you're going to square the denominator. So 5 squared is 25. Here we have a power 9 raised to a power. You'd multiply that. 9 times 2 is x raised to the 18th. Same thing in the denominator. You have a power 3 raised to a power 2, so you'd multiply these, and you would get z to the 6th. So 25x to the 18th in the numerator, z to the 6th in the denominator. Question number 7. When we divide our coefficients like normal. So 36 divided by a negative 2 is a negative 18. We have a to the first and a to the 7th. That would make a to the 6th in the denominator. 1 minus 7 is a negative 6, but then you have to move it to the denominator to make it a to the positive 6th. And then you have b to the first in the denominator, b to the 4th in the numerator. So the 4 and the 1, you'd subtract those and get b to the 3rd in the numerator. So a negative 18 b to the 3rd divided by a to the 6th. Question number 8, we're going to follow order of operations. So we're going to do this first. So my 3ab is just going to hang out for a second. And then my next one, I'm going to square 3. 3 squared is 9. A to the 5th squared. When a power is raised to power, you'd multiply. So I get a to the 10th. And b to the 4th squared, you'd multiply those two and get b to the 8th. Now you can multiply these two monomials together. When you multiply the coefficients. 3 times 9 is 27, and then you add exponents. A to the first times a to the 10th is a to the 11th. B to the first times b to the 8th is b to the 9th. With common bases, when you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So there's question number 8. Now we're getting on to scientific notation. We want to put this in scientific notation. Scientific notation has one digit to the left of the decimal point. So here's the decimal point. I want one digit to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want my decimal point right there because then the only number that's left of the decimal is 3. So 3.163. And like I said, I had to move it over 9 places. So I'm going to have times 10 raised to the 9th power. So 3.163 times 10 to the 9th. Here I want my decimal, I want one non-zero digit to the left of the decimal. So here's my decimal, and I want this 8 to be left of the decimal. So I got to move it over 2 spots, so I want my decimal right there. So it's 8.0, or just 8, times 10. This time I moved it the other way, so it's times 10 to the negative second. 8 times 10 to the negative second on that one. Question number 11. We have a monomial times a monomial. You're going to multiply the coefficients. So it's 7.6 times 3, and we get 22.8. And then you add exponents. With common bases, base 10, you're going to add exponents. 6 plus a negative 4 is 2. So times 10 raised to the second. And this isn't quite scientific notation because scientific notation has one non-zero digit to the left of the decimal. So you got to move this decimal over 1 spot. So it's 2.28, and I moved it over 1 more spot, so I got to add 1 more to the exponent. Times 10 raised to the third. There's the correct answer for question number 11. Question number 12, I'm going to divide these coefficients. So 8 divided by 11 is 0.727 repeating, 0.727272, so on and so forth, times 10. When you subtract exponents, when you divide, it's 4 minus 8. It's times 10 to the negative fourth. Once again, this isn't quite in scientific notation. I got to move my decimal point over 1 spot, so it's 7.27, and because I moved it to the right one, I got to subtract 1 from there. So it's times 10 to the negative fifth. There's the answer for question number 12. Question number 13, when you add and subtract polynomials together, it's a common phrase is you combine like terms. So x to the sevenths could only be combined with other x to the sevenths. And there aren't any other x to the sevenths in this polynomial, so we're just going to write down the 6 x to the seventh. And then we go down in descending order from there, so x to the sixths would come next, and there aren't any x to the sixths. X to the fifths would come next. There's 2x to the fifths. And then x to the fourths would come next. So here's a 1x to the fourth, so plus x to the fourth. Now x cubes. I have a negative 1x cubed and a negative 5x cubed. A negative 1 minus 5 is a negative 6x cubed. So we're combining like terms. X squareds, I have 8x squared right here, plus 8x squared. X's come next. I have a plus 3x and a minus 3x. That makes 0 x's. Don't even have to write it. And then I get a plus 10 for a constant term. So all we do is combine like terms when you add polynomials together. On question number 14, we are subtracting. So it's very similar to adding. You just got to distribute the negative sign to all of these terms, and then you combine like terms. So you still have your x cubed minus 3x squared plus 8x minus 7. And then when we distribute the negative sign, it's a negative 4x cubed, a negative 2x squared, a plus 5x, and a plus 12. When you distribute the negative 1, all of the signs in this polynomial just change signs. So now we combine like terms again. We have 1x cubed here and a negative 4x cubed there. 1 minus 4 is a negative 3x cubed. X squareds come next, a negative 3x squared and a negative 2x squared make a negative 5x squared. X's will be the next term. 8x's plus 5x's is 13x's. And a negative 7 and a positive 12 make a plus 5. That's as simplified as we can make it. Question number 15, we're going to distribute. So this monomial is going to be multiplied by the first term and by the second term. So when we multiply 2a squared b cubed times 5a squared b, 2 times 5 is 10. A squared times a squared, I would add exponents and get a to the fourth. B to the third times b to the first, add exponents and get b to the fourth. So that's the first term. Now I'm going to take 2a cubed b squared times the second term, a negative 4ab squared. So 2 times a negative 4 is a negative 8. A squared times a to the first is a to the third. And b to the third times b to the second is b to the fifth. Add exponents. There's the answer for question number 15. Question number 16, when you have a binomial times a binomial, you FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. So the first times the first is 12x squared. Outside is a negative 4x. Inside is a negative 24x. And last is a positive 8. So then we just combine like terms right here. And our answer is 12x squared minus 28x plus 8. So now with 17, a very similar situation to number 16. X has to be multiplied by every one of these. And 2 has to be multiplied by every one of these. So when we do that, x times all three of these, x times 3x squared is 3x to the third. X times 4x is 4x squared. X times a negative 2 is a negative 2x. Now I'm going to multiply the 2 times all three of these. So 2 times 3x squared is 6x squared. 2 times 4x is 8x. And 2 times a negative 2 is a negative 4. Now all we've got to do is clean things up a little bit. Combine like terms. 3x cubed is all we have for x cubes. X squareds are 4x squared and 6x squared. So that makes 10x squared. A negative 2x and a plus 8x for our x terms is a positive 6x. Negative 2 plus 8 is a positive 6. And then our constant term is a minus 4. Okay, now we're on to division. So we're dividing polynomials. When we divide by a monomial, this is called a monomial, you take each term and divide it by that monomial. So all three of these terms, we're going to divide by 3xy squared. So we will rewrite this. 9x cubed y to the fourth divided by 3xy squared minus 6x cubed y to the fourth divided by 3xy squared plus 36x to the fourth y squared divided by 3xy squared. So now we just reduce all of these and we get our answer. So 9/3 is 3. X to the third divided by x is x squared. Y to the fourth divided by y squared is y squared. Minus 6/3 is 2. X to the third divided by x is x. Y to the fourth divided by y squared is y squared. And then 36/3 is 12. X to the fourth divided by x is x to the third. Y to the second divided by y to the second is gone. And normally, class, this would be our answer, but we happen to have two terms that are the same, x squared y squared and x squared y squared, so we could add their coefficients. 3 and a negative 2 make 1 x squared y squared plus the 12x cubed. Okay, here starts a very new concept that we were introduced to a couple days ago. It's called synthetic division. So when we divide by a binomial, we're going to use synthetic division. we bring the negative 2 out in front. Remember, it's the opposite of what's in here. So when we see x plus 2, the negative 2 comes out in front. And then all of these coefficients we're going to bring down. So 1x to the fourth, 4x cubes, 3x squareds, negative 1x, and a positive 2. So we bring this 1 straight down, and we get 1. And then we multiply 1 times the negative 2, and we get a negative 2. And then we add 4 and a negative 2, make a positive 2. And then we multiply over here again. So 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4. Then we add, and we get a negative 1. Multiply over here again. Negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2. Add, a negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Multiply one more time. 1 times a negative 2 is a negative 2, and the remainder is 0. So all of these represent the coefficients for your answer. And the coefficients are 1 power down from your highest power of x. So if this is x to the fourth, this 1 right here represents 1x to the third. And then descending order from there. So here's the 2 plus 2x squared minus an x plus 1. There's the answer for question number 19. Question number 20, it's the same thing. It's kind of like x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x's plus 27. That's what this is saying. And we're dividing that by x minus 3. So the 3 comes out in front. The opposite of this, x minus 3, is the plus 3. We bring down our coefficients, 1x cubed, 0x squareds, 0x's, and 27. Got to remember those placeholders. Bring down the 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Add, 0 plus 3 is 3. Multiply, 3 times 3 is 9. Add, 0 plus 9 is 9. Multiply, 9 times 3 is 27. Add 27 plus 27 is 54. So we have a remainder on this one. The remainder is 54. X cubed is the highest power of x, so that means this 1 right here represents x squared. So it's 1x squared plus 3x plus 9 plus our remainder is 54 divided by our divisor, which is x minus 3. Question number 21, we're going to put 9 out in front. X minus 9 you see right there, so the 9 gets pulled out in front. 1x to the fourth, a negative 6x cubed, a negative 31x squared, 46x's, and a minus 90. We bring the 1 straight down, and we multiply it by the 9. 1 times 9 is 9. Add this column and get a positive 3. Multiply, 9 times 3 is 27. Add, negative 4. Multiply 9 times 4 to get, or 9 times negative 4 to get a negative 36. We add and we get a positive 10. Multiply 9 times 10 to get 90. Add and get a remainder 0. So our answer, 1x to the third plus 3x squared minus 4x plus 10. Okay, one more of these. We have a negative 3 that gets pulled out in front, because it's the opposite of this. And we have 4x to the fourths, 12x cubes, 3x squareds, 0x's, make sure you put in that placeholder, and a negative 27 for a constant term. The 4 comes straight down. 4 times a negative 3 is a negative 12. Add 0. Multiply 0 times a negative 3 is 0. Add, and we get 3. 3 times negative 3 is a negative 9. Add, and you get a negative 9. Multiply, and you get a positive 27. And once again, the remainder is 0. So these are our coefficients from 1 power down of x to the fourth. So 4x to the third plus 0x squareds. You wouldn't even have to write that if you didn't want to. Plus 3x's minus 9. There is question number 22. 23, we're going to factor out a GCF. So all of these have a factor of 4 in them. And here's x cubed, x squared. So I could take out an x squared term. And here's y cubed, y squared, and y squared. So I could take out a y squared from each of them. So once I do that, I write whatever I have left. 4 divided by 4 is 1. X to the third. And I took out an x squared. So I have x to the first left. Y to the third. And I took out a y squared. So I have y to the first left in the first term. Here's my second term. I took a negative 12 and I divided it by 4. So I have a negative 3 left. X cubed divided by the x squared is x to the first. And y squared divided by y squared is gone, so I just have a minus 3x for the second term. Plus 16 divided by 4 is 4. X to the second divided by x to the second, x's are gone. Y to the second divided by y to the second, y's are gone. So this is my answer. All you do for 23 is take out a GCF. 24, when you see 4 terms, you factor by grouping. So you take something out of these two, take something out of these two. You can take out a 3x out of these two terms, and then you're left with y plus 3. In the second two terms, you could take out a GCF of a negative 2. So then you're left with a y plus 3. So now in this term and in this term, you have a GCF of y plus 3. So you can take that out in front, and then you're left with 3x and a minus 2. There's 24. 25, when you see a trinomial, we just factor and we guess and check. X times x is x squared, and then we get a negative 10 and a positive 5. That makes our negative 50, and then when we FOIL, x squared plus 5x minus 10x minus 50, right here makes a negative 5x, and that's what we get here. X squared, negative 5x, negative 50, negative 50. So here is our answer. So from now on, I won't maybe check these. I expect you guys to do that on your test to make sure you get the right answer, but we'll just go through this quick here. 5x times 1x is 5x squared. And a negative 5 times a negative 3 is a negative 15. Here's a negative 25 minus 3. There's your negative 28x. So there's the correct answer for question number 26. 27, when you see 2 terms, you should think it's the difference of 2 squares. 2x, 2x, minus 1, plus 1. 28, take out a GCF first. You can take out a 4. So then you have x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then it's factoring this trinomial. X times x is x squared plus 2 and a plus 2. So this is your answer. You could also write your answer as x plus 2 times itself, which is x plus 2 squared. That would also work. Again, take out a GCF of 2x, so then you're left with x squared plus an x minus 20. So now we're going to factor this trinomial. 2x times x is x squared, and a plus 5 and a minus 4 make your negative 20, and your positive x in the middle. And 30 and 31 and 32, I think we'll do in class all together. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope this helps. Good luck when we take our test the following day.